See, they're just peeking over the lip of the table. There's Shang-Chi. There's the thing. Hey, dude. There's Shang-Chi. Comic book dude. Up here, we've got Xialing and Katie. And Morris. And it's like, it's cool. They've been part of the display for a while now. And luckily for me, Amazon finally restocked this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my... If you're new to my channel, you'll be like, this is how he does it? Yes, welcome to my incredibly chill review of the Marvel Legends Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings series Shang-Chi action figure. Build-A-Figure for Marvel's Mr. Hyde, which we won't get to a review of unless you guys really want to, in which case it helps support the channel. There are links down below in the description. I have the remaining figures in this series on my wish list, so if you want to help us out and pick up Wenwu, the Death Dealer, Civil Warrior, and the Tony Stark AI figure, head down to the description below. No obligation, of course, but come on, you want to see this chunky boy, right? Anyway, enough of this beast. Let's take a look at this absolute beast, Shang-Chi. There is Simu Liu, or rather a digital painting of him. Caption reads, trained since childhood by the mysterious Ten Rings organization, Shang-Chi must confront the past he thought he left behind when he is drawn into his father's web. Pull up a web. It's got some great digital artwork on the side. Different picture, actually. Sometimes it's just the same picture, but that's a different picture. The Shang-Chi logo at the top. And there he is in box with Mr. Hyde's massive leg. He looks pretty cool. Why are we chatting? Why are we chatting? Let's get him open. Sean! Or Shang-Chi. There he is. Nice, straightforward kind of release with this one. There's not too much to talk about, outside the fact that the film kicked absolute ass. And you should see it. It was great. First off, you completists, Mr. Hyde's left foot. Big old leg. He's going to be a tall boy if we get to make him. So tall the camera decided not to focus on him and instead focus on the gremlin in the back shot. But let's move that away. Accessories. Shang comes with bow staff. I think this is the one from the final scenes, like the one he's wielding toward the end. I can't quite recall. So if it is, then that's dragon scale. There's a nice bit of detail in the sculpt. Look at that. Yeah, it's dragon scale. That's really cool. Yeah, it's straightforward, simple, bends easy, be careful. He also comes with several sets of hands, including a couple of combat-specific ones, for like moves and poses. If you also have any small accessories like a mobile phone or small daggers or things like that, you could probably fit them in. So they're quite cool. We also have two of my favourite. The comic book Shang-Chi came with a lot of spare hands for different moves and poses, one of which is these sort of like combat-ready grabbing hands. That's very cool. I like those. Sculpt's cool on those. Little fingernails. And then, of course, the hands that he came with, which are kind of bunched grasping hands to hold the bow staff in. No fists, which is interesting. I think that might have been a bit of an oversight, but then again, his style in the movie, in the third act, you sort of see him developing something that's more flowing and is more about open palm, slaps and sweeps and sweeping kicks and things like that. So, you know, fair enough. But it would have been nice, I think, to have at least a pair of balled up fists for a bit of punching. Let's take a look at his articulation. Ankle goes up, ankle goes down, ankle goes mainly round and around. It pivots, and I lied, it doesn't go around at all. There is no no twist articulation in the lower leg at all, which may prove difficult for some poses, but it's okay for him standing up. He stands up fine. Double joint in the knee. It's a very big knee joint, so be careful as well because the paint is rather stiff around the joint. It's also, and they're experimenting more and more with these now, we had it with Captain America, the Infinity War Captain America and the Infinity Saga figures, it is pegless. There is no visible joint on his legs. Swivel, there's the thigh. decent lightly ranged crotch motion. That sounds wrong, and yet so right. He has a waist swivel, but it's sort of quite unfortunate because it cuts through the tunic. So I'm wondering whether or not there could have been a way to have the dragon scale tunic be one sculpted piece and the waist swivel be just underneath the lip of it. But apparently not, so that's a bit of a shame. Crunch at the ribs there. What a treat. He's got a really nice posture as well. Shoulder is a lovely swirly peg. Goes up and around. Swirl at the top of the arm. He has visible pegs on the arms, so they're not quite perfected it all over yet, but yeah. He has double elbow joint. Again, be very careful. The paint on this guy has been so stiff. So frightened of ruining a joint. Come on. Come on. There we go. So, like, me as a collector who just displays them, that it's not going to be too much of a problem, but if a kid's playing with him, it might snap right off. Swivel just comes natural with the wrist peg, and the arms pivot backwards and forwards based on what hand you've got put in there, and if he's holding his bow staff or not. And as for the head, it's similar to a lot of the later Marvel Legends, especially the movie ones. We have got the double ball peg inside a sculpted neck, and the head is resting upon it for some pretty decent natural movement. You're not going to get too many comic booky poses. Like I dread the day when they do this to like a Spider-Man, you know, a character you kind of want to be able to like look up higher, so you can have him doing crawling poses and whatnot. Paint-wise, it's not too bad. Like the paint and the joints are a little stiff, but like the white of the trainers is really, really nice. The detail on the shoes, the laces there. The pants, I've got to say, I know they're not denim, but they've got kind of a more of a denim-looking kind of texture, which you don't see very often. Tunic is a little plain in its colour, but the dragon scale detailing is really, really nice, and the lines on it are really, really nice. And all the ones that are meant to be black seem to be black, and all the ones that are meant to be thin black are just like carved in, like the Spider-Man webbing on the MCU Spider-Man figures, which is a shame. I hope they eventually develop the craft or the technology and the machine painting to get those thin lines very gently painted with accuracy. Because you know the reason why they won't be doing this is because it might like splotch everywhere and it'll look awful. Whereas on the thicker raised bits they can colour that in black. But you know, all the MCU Spider-Man figures for the most part look like they have no webbing because of how slight the paint is or how little they use it on the trenched in bits. Like you can see on the back, there's just no black line paint at all. Shiny black on the shoulders and what the hell is that party called? Just above the shoulder blades, I guess. Hair, really nicely sculpted. Like, really nicely sculpted. Simu Liu's got like a very distinct kind of like, it's not a bombastic quiff, it's just sort of a very believable one. It's not a, you know, heavily stylized one. So to capture that sculpt and the crown and everything is really, really, really cool. The likeness is great, but I've seen a load of repaints on Instagram where people have repainted it, and it just, when you look at the repaint, you go, oh my god, it's actually not close at all. Like, it is, but I think we're facing a situation. Sorry, I'm going to take a swig of my drink. I think we're facing a situation kind of like the Bucky Barnes Winter Soldier one in the Disney Plus wave, where it's like, it's Sebastian Stan, but better paint could make him pop more. So this is Simu Liu, but almost like, I don't know, it kind of looks like the CGI rendered version of Simu Liu for a parallel universe tie-in game. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd see that in a game and you go, that's him. You can see it in a toy and you go, that's him. But then you look at it next to a photo of him and you're like, it's nearly him. But it's still a very good sculpt. The eyebrows are a really nice touch as well. They're painted quite well. It does suffer a little bit from like the soft complexion that some of the newer Marvel ones have suffered from since the Infinity War figures when they started. Might have been before this, but this is when I first noticed it. The Infinity War figures, they started using the 3D printing and 3D painting, what have you, method for the likenesses of the actors, which has been to varying degrees of success over the years. Some look great, some really don't. I think it looks pretty good here overall. I'm really really happy with him, and I can't wait to get him up in the display alongside his sister and his bestie, and Morris. What do you think? Do you like the Shang-Chi action figure? Are you going to add Sean to your collection? And would you like me to review the rest and eventually build Mr. Hyde? If so, you can help me out by heading to the links in the description. My Amazon wishlist, the figures are there if you want to buy them outright. If you do, you get a shout out in the review. If you don't want to buy them, or offended at the notion that I'm telling you to buy them, then don't worry about it. Guess what? You don't have to. But you can support me in other ways by liking the video, commenting below, and sticking around for more toy reviews in the near future. Have a nice day, guys. See you soon.